Hello all, welcome to auratrainings.com. In this session, we'll discuss about two operations of FTP. One is listing files, other one is moving a file. Let's get into the content. The prerequisite for this particular session is assuming you require an FTP server. And now, as you know that these are the list of supported file operations of FTP Oracle Integration Cloud. So the green color one, which we have completed in our earlier session. In this session today, we'll be working on listing files as well as moving a file. Okay, so there are two operations which we'll be working on in this session. And the components required for us to design this particular integration is we require a REST ERP connection, REST trigger connection, and the FTP connection. And integration of type we are using is application, and we are not using any parameters, either input or output. We are not using any input or output parameters. And it shows a screenshot here. How do we configure a REST connection? So for creating a REST connection, just navigate to connection, search for REST, and click on that REST, mention the connection details, and then go with the appropriate security mechanism. In our case, we have went with POS 2.0. And similarly, for the FTP connection, search for the connection, click on create, search for the FTP adapter, mention the connection name, and mention the appropriate role. Then mention the IP address of your FTP, the port number, and the security mechanism, username, password, or respective mechanism you have to mention, and make sure that it is tested properly. Once it is 100% configuration process 100% completed, then it is you can use that particular connection in your integration, right? So now this is the final integration which we'll be designing as part of our sample today. The first one is like we'll be creating a trigger activity, and then for the next one is like we have to list the files using the FTP adapter, list the files. And now for each file which we have received from this invoke activity of list files, what we are doing is we are moving that file to the respective folder. For that, what are we doing? We are using the move file. We are performing the invoke activity FTP move files. In that, to that move files activity, what are we doing is we are passing the file name, and file name we have to pass it dynamically. And of course, the target directory have just hard coded it, and then the source directory we have to pass it. So to this invoke activity, we have to pass what is our file name and what is the source information, and to which target file name you have to map it, and what is the target directory, right? So that's what we have done. So what are we achieving via for loop is invoke activity. If we don't keep in a for loop, what will happen is we can move only one file. But in our case, we want to move all the files which are available in a respective folder to the another folder. Okay. So, and you can observe this is what we are expecting. So now if you can observe here, this loop was iterated for 3 times because it is reading all the files which are available in the inbound and copying that to the outbound. That is what we want to achieve in this integration now. So now we'll just go back to our integration. Yeah, so we'll try to design this similar integration now. So click on create application underscore test. Here, REST connection OT, list files, or instead of that, I'll say move files. Okay. Here, nothing to mention, just simply slash should work out. No input or output parameters. Click on continue. Okay, this is the different, right? This is resource URL is this one. Yeah. Continue. Finish. The REST trigger activity configuration is done. Next thing is listing the file. So let me show you the FTP configuration. So here, this is my FTP. So input inbound folder, and I have, yeah, I'll just copy 3 files here. I'm expecting these 3 files to be moved to another respect outbound folder. So let me clear the outbound folder, I guess, yeah. So now the outbound folder is empty. Outbound EMP folder is empty. And you can observe inbound EMP folder is having 3 files. Okay. So we want to copy the files from inbound to outbound. So this is the location of my directory. I'll copy the location of this directory. Now I'll just go to the integration, search for FTP connection OT. list files using FTP, right? Continue. Now what we want to do, we want to list files. This is the operation we want to select, list files. And the input directory is this one. And then what is the file pattern? We just want to go with star.csv or emp.csv. Either should be fine. List files recursively. And yeah, that's fine. We don't want to mention any other criteria. Yeah. So now this particular invoke activity will provide the list of files which are available in the directory which we have mentioned. And now we want to iterate this particular invoke activity. So using for loop, what I'll do is I'll just click here. So now list files response, take that. You got a file list. So list file response is providing a file list. File list, in that file you have a file. So here this file variable you drag and drop on the repeating element of for loop. So it will generate fo underscore file. Make a note of that. Right? So now we got the for loop. So click on this particular symbol. For now, what I'll do is I'll just assign a logger activity. Right? Now observe this one, fo underscore file. This should have all the information, directory, file name. Remaining you can ignore. So you can make a note of this file name. So I'll just click on this particular developer mode, make a note of this particular file name property as well as directory property. Okay. So maybe in our logger we can display only file name. That should be fine. Just click on save. So far we have just designed the trigger invoke activity and then listing the files, and then we have done the for loop. This for loop is mapped based on the response of our list files activity, and then we have designed a logger in which we are printing the file name. Next thing what we want to do is we want to invoke the move files. We want to create a move files activity, right? So FTP on OT. So now let's select the operation move files. Move files using FTP. Continue. So here move a file, and here if you observe it is having 4 properties. And what is the source directory? This directory is nothing but source directory name, source directory name, source file name. Similarly, target directory name and target file name. So you can mention a different file name also. So now here, what we want to do, we want to pass the information dynamically, right? So now this is my source directory. So I'll pass this information like this. And what is your source file name? This is my source file name, which I want to pass dynamically. And what is the target file name? I don't want to change any file name, so I'll just go with the same name. Now comes the important one. I want to mention the target directory, which is nothing but my outbound directory, outbound EMP directory. So as of now, it is empty. No files are available in that. And this is my target directory. So we have to pass 3 dynamic values, and the other target directory path, I'm just going with the static. So click on continue, finish. And now it will generate a mapping for this particular FTP activity. So for the move files FTP activity, it generated mapping. So to this mapping, what we have to do, we have to map the 3 variables, right? So let us map them. So right side, you can observe here, directory file name, target directory, target file name. And from where are we getting? We are getting the information from the FO file property. So this is my source directory, and this is my source file name. Target directory I will not disturb. I'll go with as is because we have already configured that will be available there. So here target file name. That's it. So target directory I just left it because while configuring itself we have mentioned that. Okay. If at all if it does not work, then best option is, let us say, we can just set it like as a static one. So I'll just mention that static value. It should work, but yeah, if you think it does not work, the best option is we'll just mention like this. Okay. We'll mention the static value for the target directory. Then almost all the things are done. Only one property is left, the primary business identifier. Let us set that property also. Yeah, so we are good for activation. Go back and perform the activation of the integration. I'll go with production mode only. Refresh. Yeah, good. Now let's run the integration. And before running also, we can observe this directory is empty, and let's run it. It may take a couple of seconds due to the server response, not because of integration, but just a server response. As it is a test server, right? So it is not as a production, what you call fastness. So this move operation will perform a cut paste operation. It's not just a copy. It will perform a cut paste operation. It will just move the file, nothing but cut the file from there and paste it in the target location. You can observe here, there are 3 iterations were generated, and you can just go back to the destination directory, outbound directory. I'll just click on refresh or reload. Perfect. So we are able to see 3 files which we have copied, and you can observe the inbound directory. Just see them, should be empty. You can just refresh. So inbound, you don't have any files. So the files are moved from inbound to outbound. So in this session, we have achieved, or we have learned about performing the list files operation as well as move file operation. Okay, thank you.